Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of One Take Podcast. It's the middle of the hot summer in August. I'm joined by my friend again, ThatSamoanGuy. Hello, ThatSamoanGuy again. Welcome back.
Hello. Yes, thank you for having me in this hot summer
It's
in
very, it's
August.
very hot. Like,
Words that should not be together in the same sentence,
but
but
it,
whatever.
I mean, we have to deal with it in the Western atmosphere, unfortunately.
Of course, like this week leading up to today was perfectly fine, and then today
It's so hot,
it chooses to shoot up into like the 90s.
dude.
Yeah.
It's so hot. Um, so,
Now
what
that
we're
I'm here, hey.
everyone's here though. So,
Yeah.
what we're gonna do here for everybody is that we're essentially going down our top five best and worst disappointing films of the year so far. Like, it's like a halfway list, in essentially. We're not gonna really do any honorable mentions because that's like a top 10 list probably later down the line.
Yeah.
I can mention one film though. I do want to do one honorable mention because it was in my top five for a while.
Okay.
We're actually gonna have a lot of horror stuff in this list,
Oh
so
no.
I'm just to hashtag smile spoilers.
Okay.
Um, but I do want to mention the Black Phone from this year. It came out in June.
Mm.
It's Scott Derrickson's best film in my opinion. It was in my top five of the year for a while actually. It's in my top 10 still. But I thought it was one of the best horror films I saw this year. It's definitely Scott Derrickson's best film. He also did Sinister and the first Doctor Strange movie. So
Mm.
it's
I
also
don't know that.
it has Ethan Hawke in it as the main villain, and he's fucking phenomenal in it. Anything Ethan Hawke, I'm always game for.
Mhm.
And also the child actors are just amazing. This is their first ever role in a film ever. Both actors involved here with the kids, so yeah, I highly recommend the Black Phone if you haven't seen. Yeah, especially with the good year of horror this year so far. Did you have any like just one honorable mention before we start or something like that?
Um, I don't know.
There's a lot to think about.
Well, and here's the thing: you're inhuman, and you've seen everything under the sun. Um,
It's weird.
between wedding planning and relationships and work and things, I don't get as many chances to see. As I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna catch up to you, but I don't have the repertoire that or the reserves that you have. So my list might be a little smaller compared to yours.
Okay then. So I guess we'll just go ahead and go straight to the top fives then of our favorites so far this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did I think I started last time. Did you want to start this time?
I can, yeah.
What's your
I will
number five?
preface. Um, shoot, I didn't really put them in like any kind of actual
Specific order?
order.
You could
But
just name.
looking at what I've got in front of me though,
Mhm.
if I was gonna put one at number five, it'd probably be Turning Red.
Okay, so Turning Red is
I
another
I
one.
thoroughly enjoyed Turning Red. It was funny and sad. If you've got a any kind of estranged relationship with your mom, or if you just miss your relationship with your mom, there's a good chance you'll be reaching for tissues watching it. It does kind of fall victim to the whole like the liar revealed subplot that I'm not a huge fan of, but the set dressings around the movie leading up to that point are charming enough that I'm willing to hand wave it away. I'm also a sucker for the time era that it's set in,
Mhm.
which was definitely when like boy bands and Twilight were in their heyday for sure. Um, Backstreet Boys actually came back and did like one song, like
Yeah, they did it for this
four or
film, right?
5 years ago, and I'm like, how is the fake parody boy band in Turning Red better? Their album better than the real like comeback album that Backstreet Boys gave us?
It's
So you
on.
know they
It,
they
it's
hit the nail on the
honestly
head.
we're also going to be talking about this for a bit because I kind of talked to you about this last night, but I was a bit ashamed that this was a Disney Plus only release and not a
Mm-hmm.
theatrical release.
Yeah,
So,
likewise.
so I also have this in my top 10 list so far this year. I
Mm.
really, really enjoyed this one. It was very cute. The main character was very likable. For the
Mm-hmm.
I thought the main character was very Mei Mei.
Yeah.
I thought she was very likable. Most
I
people
thought
didn't
her
like
whole
her.
front. Really?
I saw a lot of people don't like her, but I'm like I don't see it. I actually think she's a really
I
likable character.
I think so too. I did see some pushback being like, Psh, kids that age aren't like that. I'm like, they absolutely are.
Absolutely not.
Everyone,
They were like that.
they were super like that, especially with like the fan fiction doodling handsome boys slash girls, depending what you're into in high school. Like I like that was absolutely a thing. Don't even try to front.
Yeah, I don't agree to that front either. I've seen so many people like been like that in my school age, so yeah, no, that's definitely accurate. I felt like to me.
Yeah, I thought her whole entourage too were likable too.
Yeah, Turning Red, very enjoyable Pixar film.
Yeah.
I didn't see Lightyear yet, which was their other film I think they released, but it's also on Disney
Mm,
Plus, which I do plan on seeing.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Turning Red, really good one that you chose here.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
My number five. My number
Mm,
five. I think you're also going to talk about this one in a little bit because
mm,
I have this also this bumped the Black Phone from the top five spot because
mm.
considering how fucking good this film was, and that is Dan Trachtenberg's Prey.
Oh
Ugh,
shit, yeah. Yeah,
Prey.
talk to me about Prey.
Prey was so cool, man. Like
Yeah.
so cool. Like this is how you do a Predator film, not the Predator 2018. Like to think that there's some people out there that even would defend 2018 over this is like you're talking like a Sunday versus like some sort of shit cookie all of a sudden. Like
Yeah.
you're kidding me, right? Like how is this film a little bit worse than the last film? The last film was like one of the worst pieces of shits I've ever seen in my life in the theater. I regret even spending $5 on that shit. And yet this film gets dumped straight to streaming. Like this doesn't even get a theatrical release. Like it's fucking bullshit to me. That's just me though. I
Oh
thought
no,
this.
no, it's not. It's me too. I am right there with you. Like there is no reason why you had to dump this thing into streaming only. Like I worked at a theater, and there were so many times people be like, "Oh, what should I see?" You know, coming up asking me for recommendations, and it was everything in me to not just be like, "Just go home and watch Prey." But I can't say that at work. I can't tell them to like turn around and go home.
Exactly. It just sucks because it's also Disney behind this, and it's like, oh,
Hmm.
I think because from what I know from the story behind it is that, somebody at Disney leaked out that Dan Trachtenberg was secretly making a Predator film. He was gonna do the
Yes.
same marketing style as 10 Cloverfield Lane,
Hmm.
and then some fucker decided to just leak it, and it's like, oh, no, we're gonna put it straight to streaming instead since that happened. It's like that's such bullshit to me. It's like it's also the first ever film to have both native and English dubbing together at once. It's like, come on, this is literally making history here. Like, it's not even gonna be in theaters. Whatever though. The movie itself though, fucking nearly to material, man. Like,
Hmm.
fucking Amber Midthunder was incredible as the lead. Like, I loved her so much as Naru. And also Sunny, the dog, best dog companion ever. Yeah, I don't want to say too much since you're probably also gonna talk about this film,
Yeah.
but this
Yeah.
film, seriously recommend on Hulu,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't endorse it enough.
which you'll probably talk about later.
You
um,
might be onto something there.
so what? I think it's your turn now for number four of best.
For four, if I'm going off the cut, like I would probably have Multiverse of Madness
Okay,
of the
interesting.
Marvel ilk as my number four.
Interesting.
Um, it's honestly okay. So it is creative. It is unique. It really benefits from having someone who like has like a vision and like a specific filming style to do a Marvel movie. Um, but a big takeaway that I took from it was that Elizabeth Olsen really steals the show from Doctor Strange in a Doctor Strange movie.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
her on-screen
absolutely.
presence, her charisma, like I mean, given the her role in the movie. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the star quality that she has in it really kind of, and not in a bad way. I don't mean this as like a knock against the movie. She kind of steals focus away because Doctor Strange, I feel like, was basically his arc was mostly done in the first Doctor Strange movie, and now we get to see how he affects other people, um, including Elizabeth Olsen's character. And then the movie as itself too. Like I feel like I get this image, right? I'm gonna spell this all out for you. I see Marvel executives, I see Disney executives sitting down with Sam Raimi and they say, "Hey, show us what you've got on this Doctor Strange movie. It better have this, it better have this, this, and this, or we're cutting out the funding. We're pulling the plug." He goes, "Okay." And he puts all that shit in the first 45 minutes because he knows that's all they're gonna watch. And then once they leave, he just goes, "Okay, roll it." And then he just goes completely ape shit for the rest of the movie. Because the first act is not bad, but it's definitely more what you would expect out of a Marvel movie. Um, and then there's little inklings here and there that like, yep, that's a Sam Raimi movie. But as the movie goes on, it definitely starts to become more unhinged and turns into more of a passion thing, and you can start to see Sam Raimi's touch, while still like it doesn't compromise the movie either, which is a good balance to strike.
This has been a very polarizing MCU film for some. Like, it's been
Hmm.
either in the love it side or hate it side of things.
Yeah.
Um, I'm actually like in the more side of good because
Yeah.
like I do think this film is good, but I do have some problems with it still. Like
Hmm.
I think the multiverse rules are just all over the place because especially with Loki, establishing them, it's like it didn't really follow the Loki rules of multiverse in a way.
Yeah.
So like in that sense, I had really big story problems with that.
Hmm.
But like you said though, Sam Raimi just brought his vision and like just brought it all out in the second half of this movie, man. Like,
It's a very striking movie to watch.
yeah, I was watching this at home again on my Disney Plus account. It has the IMAX enhanced shit on, and I have that on my OLED. It looks gorgeous still. Like Sam
Mm.
Raimi knows how to color grade a movie, man.
He
Like,
sure fucking does. Well, you know what? He sits down with. I'll bet you he sits down with his editor and works with them. And I'll bet you that most of the directors for Marvel movies don't do that, or at least not to the same degree.
yeah, I so while it's not my favorite MCU film of the phase, I do appreciate a lot of stuff in it.
Hmm.
Especially like you said, Elizabeth Olsen was fantastic in the role.
It's
She,
definitely a memorable one. It may not be everybody's favorite, but you're not
it's
gonna
definitely
forget it.
you're
That's
definitely not gonna forget it. There's a lot of
yeah.
weird stuff to remember in it. I
Hmm.
actually think one of my favorite parts in it was the musical battle. The
You read my
ding.
goddamn mind. I was literally just gonna say, like, where else would you see that in a Marvel
You
series?
would never see that anywhere else, but that's all due to Sam Raimi's greatness.
Hmm.
Yeah, I so while it's not my favorite, I definitely appreciate it and still like it a lot.
Yeah, and I have my qualms with it too. But yeah, that would probably be the number four out of the out of the six movies I've seen this year. No, I'm just kidding. But all right,
Just
what do you
six
have for
movies you've seen all year. That's what. Number four, another superhero film we're gonna talk about here.
me?
For myself, this was yeah, this was on my list for a while, and it's still probably gonna be on the top five list for a while.
Mm,
And that is Matt Reeves' The Batman.
okay.
I, you know me. Oh, sorry. I accidentally accidentally moved the wrong poster. You know me. I'm a huge Batman fan. I
No, really?
no.
I didn't know you liked Batman.
But I do love Batman. He's one of my favorite heroes of all time for comic
Mm.
books. Um, so I will pretty much watch any Batman related thing you could put me in front of, even shitty stuff like Gotham or the Batman and Robin films or freaking Batman v Superman
Oh,
even.
I don't know what you're talking about. Batman and Robin's beautiful.
Yeah, well, Batman and Robin honestly is a fun cheesy ride if you don't
Yeah.
take it seriously.
Yeah,
So
if you look at it's like a Saturday Night Live parody that went wild.
yes, you could take it exactly as that, and it'll just
Hmm.
be a laugh fest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
so when I heard about Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson doing a Batman film, it already had my eyes on it.
Hmm.
Like I had my eyes on this shit, like locked down. Like
Yeah.
this, I already knew this was one of my most anticipated of that year. Like,
Mm.
cause Matt Reeves is a fantastic director, judging from his Cloverfield movie and his Planet of the Apes movie he did recently, the trilogy back
Mm.
there. Fucking amazing movies, in my opinion. Amazing trilogy. Um, and so I thought he would be a perfect director for Batman, and clearly the visual style of this movie shows like his direction is perfect for the Batman. Like I think this is the best represented Gotham I've ever seen on
Hmm.
film. This has like the best cinematography I've ever seen in a Batman movie ever.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
so gorgeous.
It's yeah.
Um,
It's like cinematic dynamite. Like it really pops off the screen.
and and Robert Pattinson is a revelation as
Yeah.
Batman. Like he
Yeah.
is incredible in the role.
He can
Like
do it all.
this guy just manages to prove everybody wrong so many times with his acting skills.
Constantly.
Like
Constantly.
seriously, he everybody keeps bagging on him saying he's just the Twilight guy, and it's like no, you clearly have not seen any other films this guy has done even
You know
before
he's done other
Batman.
movies, right? Like
I've seen
even
the
he doesn't like
yeah.
those movies.
Even he hates those movies, and he acknowledges them publicly. Like seriously, go look up an interview, and he will legit say he hates them up
He like
front.
he's this close to doing a riff tracks of his own
He
movies.
probably is. He's so funny when he riffs
Yeah.
on those films. But anyways, he's like amazing as Batman. I loved seeing him like in that suit. I loved
Hmm.
seeing him use gadgets. I loved
Yeah.
seeing him being a detective. World's
Yeah.
greatest detective. Where
Yeah.
was this in the other films? It's
Nowhere.
finally here. So yeah, it's just to me this other than The Dark Knight, this is the definitive Batman film to me.
Yeah.
So, like, and also the rest of the cast is just fantastic too. I mean, you have Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, you have Colin Farrell as the Penguin, who's unrecognizable as fuck, dude. Like, oh my god,
Literally, people didn't recognize him when he went out in public with the prosthetics.
amazing.
He went to a Starbucks and was just like not in suit, but he went in with the prosthetics and like he got a couple glances because his face is all fucked up, but like he no one knew who he was.
And also, I really hope this gets nominated for best makeup at least at the Oscars, because if it doesn't, that's why I know the Oscars are so fucking rigged at this point. Because
Suicide Squad can get it, then the Batman can get it.
exactly. Not 2021 Suicide Squad, by the way. It's 2016 Suicide Squad we're referring to. But yeah, I can't get enough of the Batman personally. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
What's your number three now?
Ooh, number three. Um, I think, and of course, like when we do, if and when, you don't have to invite me back, but if and when we do a top 10 at the end of the year, this is subject to change. But I kind of want to put Nope as my number three.
Guess what? I
Hmm.
have Nope as number three as well.
Hey, let's
Hey,
talk
so
about
you know
it.
what? Let's both talk about Nope as our
Let's
number
talk
three
about
then.
it. Yeah.
This movie is awesome.
We're gonna spoil the shit. We might end up spoiling the shit. Do you want to
Let's not
insight?
talk too much about it because it did still
Okay.
come out recently,
All right.
but this movie's awesome.
Yeah. I really enjoy. Really like it was enjoyably suspenseful. It really kind of took me back to when I watched Jaws for the first time.
there was definitely a lot of Jaws comparisons from the reviews I saw, and when I saw the
Mm.
film, I was like, oh, yeah, I see it
Hmm.
now too. The Jordan Peele, he's come far, man. Like he's come
Yeah.
so far from just being a skit comedian,
Yeah.
now an Oscar-winning horror director and
Yeah.
writer.
And not like not I don't want to bag on the horror genre as a whole, but a lot of people when they think of horror tend to think of schlockiness and cliches, but like he really gives his takes on horror a lot of like brain food. You know, there's a lot of layers, there's a lot to talk about, but it's not overwhelming or like condescending either. It's just enough to give it a little bit of flavor so that they stand out a lot, which I appreciate.
Yeah, what I also loved in this film a lot too was the cinematography. This was one of the most gorgeous
Yeah.
films I've seen all year. And,
Yeah.
and like this is a horror film that has legit like some of the most breathtaking cinematography I've seen, especially in the nighttime. Like the nighttime sequences look gorgeous even too.
Yeah.
Like
Those are the ones that stood out to me the most.
the design of the UFO was unique.
Mhm.
The cast was phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
Kiki Palmer was the one that stood out to me the most because I thought her energy was just so infectious and
Yeah,
great throughout.
they give her a good uh avenue to channel to work with.
So there's a lot to talk about if we did want to spoil it, but I don't think we should do that at all
I think we can
because
hold off. I
yeah,
think we can.
I think we can
All
hold off until maybe like the top 10 list maybe, and then we'll talk about a little bit detailed
yeah.
if we do get yeah, if it does end up again. But I have a good
You're right.
feeling it will still be in my top 5 at least. So
Likewise, yeah. All
nope.
I'll say is that fucking Akira bike slide, man.
I saw
That's
that.
it shot to a 10 out of 10. I was like, this is a pretty good movie. And then they did that. I was like, well, now it's a 10 out of 10.
And it's interesting too, because fun fact, Jordan Peele was gonna do an Akira film, but he said no because he was saying he wanted to focus on original content, not properties.
You know, I respect that.
I
There's
definitely
not enough
respect it too.
original content. Yeah.
So yeah, nope. No, both are number threes. Amazing horror film. Probably my favorite
Yeah.
horror film so far this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree actually. Yeah.
So number two, wait, no, sorry, number three for me. Oh wait, no, we did talk about number three. I
Yeah, we
can't
no, we did
shoot,
that. We
shoot.
did
So you
you
go to
killed two
number
birds with one
two.
stone.
You go to number two then. What's your number two?
Um my number 2, oh dang. Cuz I know what my number 2 is mm, this is tough.
It's hard to think about,
uh
huh?
yeah. Especially since now I kind of wish I had taken Turning Red off. But this list is subject to change. We're going to revisit this later. Um Fuck it, let's talk about the Batman again.
Hey, okay, so
I
let
want
me just
I
grab
want to talk
that
about
poster
Batman.
again.
Just throw that
Um,
in there.
so number two for you is Matt Reeves is the Batman.
Yeah, because when I think about it, I don't usually do really long movies, and I don't usually rewatch things so close to each other. There's usually like a good long gap before I go back and watch a thing again.
Mhm.
I watched the Batman twice in like a week span, and it's a 3 hour movie. And I did not notice at all. I did not care. I was soaking it up. I never felt like, well, there's one part where I was like, time wise, but that was on second viewing. Like, I almost never felt the time go by. And for me, that's impressive because I always notice, like, whenever something is like 2 hours, 40 minutes, I'm like, I need you to pick it up a little bit, especially since most movies can't justify that kind of running time. Like, fucking, like, Jurassic World Dominion. Like, a lot of movies can't keep it up for that long. The Batman can keep it up all night long. um, and you hit the nail on the head too with R-Pats. Um, dude has like my never-ending respect. Honestly, he earned my respect with The Lighthouse, but like with this too, like, dude, as far as I'm concerned, the only thing he can't do is my taxes.
He can't do my taxes either, but he earned my respect ever since seeing him in like The Rover and Good Time from both A24 films. Yeah, he's proven me many times like that he's a great dramatic actor too.
And like, there's so many shots that are only like a second long or 2 seconds long, but I'm like, that shot probably took hours to get right. And like it pays off so well. And it even isn't even, I mean, yes, we talked about the cinematography. It is fantastic, but the writing is so on the like hit the nail on the head from a mile away. Like every little detail, the music choices for the different characters, like it all just a little chef's kiss. It all congeals perfectly into this little not little, it's 3 hours, but into this into this like Batman shaped treat. And one of the best things about, like you said, with like the detective stuff is that like this, if you really wanted, like this could be your first Batman movie. Like you don't really need, it does work really well as a primer for the character. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the head with me too. Like I love this movie. It's pretty
Yeah.
much my definitive Batman film now, other than probably The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, um,
Which is a tall order.
it's a very tall order,
That's a
but
tall
I
fucking order.
knew with somebody like Matt Reeves he could pull it off though. I knew he could pull this off.
I'm just imagining you hearing the announcement of Matt Reeves making a Batman movie. I'm just imagining you just like starting to drool a little bit from the corner of your mouth.
Dude,
Like
I
just like
was so freaking happy, dude, when I heard that name, cause ever since the Planet of the Apes films, like I figured, what could he do next? And then when I
Mhm.
heard that, I was like, oh my god, it's perfect, it's perfect. He could
I
do
still
it.
haven't seen I still haven't seen the third in that trilogy. I
Oh,
really liked the
dude,
first two. I
dude,
really
you
liked the
got
first
to
two.
see the War for the Planet of the Apes. It's incredible stuff, man.
And I went into the first one with a full head of steam, ready to hate it, and it really turned me around. I was like, this actually this has me invested. I'm into this movie.
Yeah, the Batman, so good.
All right, hit me up. What do you
My
got
number
for
two?
number two? Yeah,
Number two. Okay, so
I want
number
to know.
two. This movie is quite special.
Mm-hmm.
Quite special to both, I'd say both of us in terms of our culture as us being Asians.
Mm.
Um, um, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Hey, there you go. Yes. Okay. There's a. Woof. We got a lot to unpack.
What a what a film. What
There's a
a
lot to talk about.
it was close to being my number one, honestly, judging
Mm-hmm.
from how like I'd see films, but I mean, this could essentially be tied as my number one, essentially for the
Mm-hmm.
year, alongside with my number one here later on. But
Mm-hmm.
this film, man, it touched me to a chord that I didn't expect so much to happen. Like, it's almost hard to describe what you see because there's so much
Yeah.
happening, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time you can't take your eyes away from what's happening because it's just like when there is something happening, it's the most bizarre and yet most amazing thing you'll ever see on the screen yet all this year.
Yeah.
This film was directed by the Daniels, who are both also Asian American,
Mm-hmm.
and they did an incredible job, man. This film is gorgeous. It's heartbreaking. It's it's action packed. It's everything. It truly is everything everywhere. It's an everything genre, and I can't get enough of it because we need more original films like this. I want something like this in
Yeah.
films. This is what cinema is to me. If this seriously does not get nominated for any Oscars or any Golden Globes, I'm just gonna deem the Academy as a bunch of bullshitters who just don't know film at all anymore. So
And then you'll be where I am.
I mean, I've kind of taken that stance already until they got Parasite to win, and that's when I kind of started believing them again. And then
Mm.
now they started to go back to bullshit recently. But that's just me. I mean, so Everything Everywhere All at Once is quite the experience to watch. I mean, Michelle Yeoh is awesome in her
Mm.
role.
Yeah.
Jonathan Ke Quan, it's so great to see him back in something like this.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing him and James Hong. What a legend! Like, still like 96 and still doing movies these
That
days.
dude's resume is longer than my dick. It is ridiculous how much stuff he's been in and is still doing. He shows no signs of stopping.
He doesn't, and he says he has no signs of stopping, which is
I saw him on a
amazing.
car commercial yesterday.
Dude,
Like
I just
shit.
watched Big Trouble in Little China the other day
That
with my
movie's great.
sister. Dude, do you love Big Trouble in Little China?
I love that movie.
That movie's awesome, man. It's one of my
I
favorite Carpenter
actually
films.
I actually, minor sidebar. I found a Ninja Turtles show that was sadly canceled in 2020, but they took Big Trouble in Little China as a big inspiration for the series in
That's
terms of
that's awesome.
like a cultural melting pot. I was like, "Yep, that is, uh-huh. That something's felt familiar, but now that you've pointed out, I can't unsee it."
Welcome to the Pork Chop Express. Jack Byrne here. Such a great movie, man.
I just rewatched that at my bachelor party.
You did?
Yeah, it went over really well.
Yeah, that's great. I just
Yeah.
showed it to my sister and her boyfriend for the first time, and they liked it
Nice.
too.
Cool. It's hard not to like. It's super charming.
Yeah. Speaking of charming, Everything Everywhere All at Once is also very charming in a lot of places.
A
Um,
segue.
Jamie Lee
Bringing it back around.
Curtis is really good in this movie too. Like,
I
holy
thought she was
shit.
gonna be in the movie for like a scene, and then it turns out she's like keeps coming back multiple times in the movie. I was like, I'm
But
fine with
also,
this, but
like
it
in the
was
most
grinding.
emotional moments, it's like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god.
Yeah.
This movie, uh, I kind of want to see it again,
Oh,
if I could.
yeah. I would. It got re-released in our theater, a couple of theaters around here, and it's still pulling numbers.
Yeah, we need more films like this. We truly
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
A24, you're doing it great. All right, what's your number
Uh, I
one?
actually, I actually don't know if you've heard of it. I mean, you've probably heard of it. I don't know if you saw it though. Um, and it's kind of like with you with everything and your number one, where you're like, this could very easily, it's high. Um, this one and the Batman I struggled with. It's called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Jesus.
I don't know if you've
Oh
heard of
my
it.
goodness gracious. Okay, so I have to put that poster as well.
Yep.
Okay, so
So
let me
the
put that up.
Batman, the Batman might be my favorite movie of the year, but if I really am honest with myself, in terms of right now where I am at this point in the year, I do think Everything Everywhere is probably the better movie. Because it aspires to more and it doesn't slip up. It definitely like it bites off a lot, but it manages to get through it. There's a lot of layers to the movie. Like if you imagine a fucking triple decker sandwich, I am kind of hungry, so I'm gonna start using food analogies.
I'm kind of hungry too.
Um, if you imagine like a triple decker sandwich, it manages to get it all down, without skimping on any the things that normally you would lose out on. Like no character development gets lost in the sidelines. The editing and the action does not take any kind of back seat
There's no
in order to.
sacrifices made.
Yeah, there's no sacrifices made, which is kind of incredible, especially since it is the Daniels who they're not bad, but their previous movies have had a little bit of flab to them, some extra. Like I was not a huge fan of the one with Daniel Radcliffe.
Swiss Army Man.
Yes, thank you. I liked it okay, but it kind of felt like it was just being. Sometimes it felt like it was just being weird for the sake of being
It was
weird.
very
I didn't
weird.
I didn't always gel with it. Sometimes I was, like, that's kind of cute, and then there were times I was like, I feel like you're wasting my fucking time. With this, Everything Everywhere, um, it is definitely still quirky, but they've managed to actually like frame a purpose around it, which is actually kind of creative. The to make the jumps, you know, uh, I appreciated that. I really have to try hard to find anything that rubs me the wrong way. I really can't. It sometimes is a little emotionally messy. That is also kind of in spirit of the movie though, because it's literally called Everything All at Once. Like it's hard to knock the movie. It's being honest. Um, it never quite got me like teared up. Like so a lot of people I talked to said that they were like bawling like a baby during the movie. I'm like, it didn't quite get to me that way. It was
I
emotional
teared
for
up.
sure.
I definitely teared up. I didn't like bawl though, like, but still made me very
Yeah,
emotional. Like,
I wasn't sobbing. Like one of my coworkers was like, "Oh, I saw it 6 times in the theater, and I cried every time." I was like, "I don't know if I could." I mean, if that got to you, like more power to you, by all means. But I felt like, especially near the end, there's a few times where the music is building, and the editing is ramping up, and it's building to a big emotional payoff, and then someone cuts it all off and says stop or hold on or wait, and everything comes to a crashing halt, and they do that like 4 times in the span of 10 minutes, and I feel like it feels like I'm driving and the emergency brake keeps randomly like engaging. It's only really towards the end, but I don't think that cancels out the effort that the movie makes, the stamp that it makes, like on the grander scale, like for movies as a whole. It's like you said, it's like an original idea that aspires to a lot. Like the balls on this movie, and to be able to execute it, like it's the best thing I've seen so far this year.
yeah. I mean, this movie is just amazing. Like,
Mhm.
you
Even if
pretty
it failed at what it was doing, I would still rather a movie aspire and try something new.
then be cookie cutter bullshit, you know? Yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
honestly, because I'm so sick of tired of cookie cutter shit, you know, like Space Jam 2 and shit like that.
Easter Sunday. I'm like, God damn it! Like the have you seen the trailer for that
I saw
movie?
that trailer.
Oh my god! Like
As a
I looked around
Filipino,
at
I
my.
didn't really find it that funny.
That's the thing is I looked around at my audience and like it's getting a good amount of laughs. I'm like, what is wrong with me? That am I the only one that just does not see the trailer is pausing for laughter? I can feel it wants me to laugh, but I'm not getting it. Why is this funny? It's the same shit I've
It
seen
has
a
bad
billion
reviews
times, and
anyways on Rotten Tomatoes, so
I almost was like out loud. I almost said, "And cue the outdated pop music while they slide in a car for some reason. They all lean to the side and go, oh," and then it fucking happened.
yeah, I'm tired. That's why I'm just so tired of cliched movies, and then I'm just so glad we have movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh,
So,
you want an eye-opening experience? Watch it like watch a trailer or two like that, and then go watch Everything Everywhere All at Once.
it would seriously change your life. So that's your number one, Everything
Right
Everywhere All at
now,
Once?
yeah. So far this year, that's my number one.
Alright, so my number one. My
Mm.
number one film has to be also my favorite theater experience so far this year. I saw this film in IMAX with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad and I were just so entranced into the screen that we
Mm-hmm.
just couldn't like take our eyes off every time something was happening. The same thing with Everything Everywhere, you know, like you just can't take your eyes off it.
Yeah.
So, when we left the theater, my dad and I were still well, not leaving the theater, but like when we were still sitting down when the film ended, and we were just like looked at each other, just like my dad just leaned over to me saying, "Holy shit, that was one of the greatest theater experiences ever, man." And that I can agree with, and that film is Top Gun Maverick.
Shit, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm being fucking serious, dude.
Damn.
You, we talked about this on Twitter, and
I've been
you
sleeping on
weren't
this
really
shit
that
lately.
hyped about this film. I talked about this with my brother. He wasn't really hyped about this film, but man, every time I talk about this film, and then the news comes out that it keeps making more money, like it's still like in the top five of box office
Oh
right now.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like it beat Titanic for the highest grossing domestic stuff right now. So this movie's fucking incredible, man. Like just from the cinematography, action is well filmed. I am so tired of films just doing, quick cut bullshit, doing transitional shit that doesn't make sense. It's
Yeah.
like this has some of the most white knuckled action I've seen probably in a while, man. Like because they're actually doing it. It's real
Yeah.
jets. It's the actors actually doing it. So, and like the whole cast is just so much fun to watch. Like their chemistry is amazing. Tom Cruise, 60 years old already. I don't know what the fuck he drinks. He must drink the bloods of the innocents to look
I was
at
just gonna
at least
say,
30.
like, it's sacrificial for sure.
He's probably the Scientology's probably working for him. I don't fucking know, but it's working
Ooh.
for him.
Ooh.
Hey, I will say, religious aside, he does make some of the best action movies I've ever seen in the theater experience. I mean, I still think Mission Impossible Fallout is one of the best action movies ever made, and that's the latest one from the Mission Impossible franchise too. So I mean, I don't think Tom Cruise can do no wrong, especially with my IMAX action money. So I mean, yeah. It's also directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did Tron Legacy, which I consider one of the most underrated sequels of all time, in my opinion. So yeah, dude, you really gotta see this film. You gotta see Top Gun Maverick if you ever get the chance to. It's still in theaters. You can still catch
Oh,
it.
I know. I'm still selling tickets. It's like you said. I'm still like when people come up to buy tickets for it. I'm still like, it's pretty much only the front rows left because it's selling out constantly. And you know what else is that people are coming back for multiple visits. I've talked to quite a few customers, and just shooting the shit with them. Be like, hey, what are you seeing today? And they're like, oh, Top Gun. I'm like, yeah, I've heard it's really good. You'll have to let me know, if it's gonna. Oh, well, I've seen it before. It's my third time. I'm like, shit. All right.
It,
Fuck me, I
it's
guess.
not it's not to be joked around, man. Like I do think like this is the best theater experiences so far I've had this year. Like the IMAX footage they got just looks so real. Like I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness, it feels documentary like in a way, but also so intense because it's just like they're actually doing it. And it's like, oh fuck,
Oh fuck.
dude, like no, seriously. I was in my seat, like almost rocking in a way, like how they're doing it, like a 4DX experience, because I know it's not 4DX, but it's like I'm just like, oh shit. It's almost like I need a HOTAS controller to control this shit. Nah, dude, best movie experience I've had all year so far. Top Gun
Well,
Maverick.
now, so if so when I compiled my notes and put my little pre-list together, I had not seen Prey at the time. Uh, I if I had taken that into account, Turning Red probably would have been knocked off, and I probably would have had Prey as like my number three or something like that. So consider it like an unofficial entry, but I mirror everything you said.
So Prey would be essentially like your number three unofficially, but officially essentially.
Yeah, I think it's the Batman of the Predator series. Like it is the best one of the like all of them. You could jump into it completely blind. Um I I think that it keeps it simple, but simple is not bad. I
Simple's
think that
never bad.
no, I think it does a lot with parallels too. There's a lot of parallels between the main character and the predator. There's good subtext that you can think about while you're watching the movie. There's good subtext with between her and without spoiling anything, other characters that are introduced into it later. Um, there's other stuff happening outside the fact that there's a giant scary alien with sci-fi like shooting at Native Americans. Like there's other things happening, and I appreciate that so much because while I love the original Predator, it is not exactly a deep, thought-provoking movie with multiple complex
You
emotions.
you literally
It's
have people talking about being sexual Tyrannosaurus Rexes. I mean, come on, that's
yeah.
not deep.
Yeah, no, it's the cleverest thing, cleverest. The most clever thing that the original does is it starts out as Commando and then halfway through it subverts it and turns into a completely different movie. Which I like that. I can appreciate like when a movie has a sharp left turn as long as it's done well, and it's done well. Um but this one is treats the subject material of the Predator with so much more like authenticity and respect that like it is far and away the best one of the series. Like it's yeah.
Also, I just want to point out, like, not related to the movie itself, but when people were like ranting on Twitter about how this is about, oh, it's a woman and it's Mary Sue and shit like that, it's like, no, did you watch the same movie we
She
did?
fucks up quite a bit
She
actually in that
fucks up
movie.
quite a bit. She gets fucked up, man. Like,
She
and
does,
also
yeah.
like, fucking Tyrone Magnus. Fuck you, Critical Drinker and Tyrone
He's
Magnus,
not
you
even
pieces of
he's
shits.
I agree, but he's not even worth like talking about because
I
he's
know,
such
but
an
I just think it's
insignificant
hilarious that he fucking blocked me on Twitter when I called him out on being a
yeah,
racist.
he can block everybody that he wants, but the problem is still him.
He's a fucking asshole and he knows it.
Um, I also really appreciate too that the Predator in the movie was not perfect. Like he gets fucked up in a couple of places. Like it's kind of cool that the movie is that like brutal and kind of rough on its characters. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Trachtenberg, like I said, did 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I really loved that film too. He's two for
Yep.
two with his
Yeah.
horror sequels so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yep.
give him anything at this point.
Fuck it. Yeah. This feels like a real movie, not just like a
Not
nerd
not
sci-fi
a fucking
send up.
CGI cash grab like the Predator 2018 was. Sorry, Shane Black.
Yeah,
Sorry, not
like
sorry.
it really did feel like it did kind of take me back to watching the original because I was like the original having watched it recently I was like they don't make movies like this anymore. Like as dumb as the first one is and simple-minded as it is, like it's still shot on location. It's still like framed really well. It has a lot of eye-catching like visual moments to it and it feels very real despite its subject matter. Prey also feels very visceral and grounded. Well, except for like the big CGI bear, but like other than that, it feels very grounded and real. Like the Predator suit was 100% like a suit prosthetic. I'm like, boy, it adds a lot. It adds a lot to your movie when there's a real thing in front of the camera tricking you and you
And
think
not
it's
a
real and
shitty
it's weird.
CGI Predator.
Uh huh.
So yeah, Prey is awesome. I think we
Yeah,
can all endorse that. So,
it's fantastic.
we have to unfortunately get to the worst disappointing films
Oh, I don't know what you're
now.
talking about. This is the best part of the whole
I am gonna
thing.
take off the best of posters right now. So
Yeah.
you are all great movies, you guys. You are all great movies,
You're all fantastic.
all
If you're listening to
fantastic.
this, like, you couldn't go wrong with any one of them.
So I think I'm. Oh yeah. So I think last time you started off with the worst. I'm gonna start off this time, if
Yeah,
that's
go for it.
okay.
Yeah.
So starting off, this isn't necessarily a worst of. Well, actually, should I go to the bathroom real quick before doing this? I feel like I need to take a
I mean,
quick pee break.
you let me go, so yeah, by
You
all
know
means.
what? Quick pee break, guys. I'm just gonna be right back. Because just a
Yeah,
quick one,
kiss him if you
like
got him.
5 minutes, guys. Let's go ahead and do that. Quick intermission. I'll be right back, dude. Alright, I'm back from the intermission now. If you're back. Oh, I'm guessing that's a no
Nope.
then. Oh no no, you're
There we
here.
go.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I did not know you were here. I just
You
got also water and food too, so I got some. I just got brought in and out right now.
nice.
You have you had in and out before?
Yeah, once it was good. I liked it. There isn't really one around
Around
here.
your area, yeah. I figured because it's only a California thing, or Las Vegas thing too, yeah.
Yeah, and then I look at the delivery fee. I'm like,
Too much, huh?
yeah, not
Uh,
worth it.
so as I was saying before, this film that I'm about to talk about for my number five of the worst disappointing list, more so on the disappointing side, because I do admire some things that this film tried to do.
Mm.
Like definitely, like, and actually, this is actually might be a little bit of a controversial opinion on my side, but I just didn't find it anything to attach to by the end of it. Like, I just didn't find it scary or gross that much when people were saying it was like the most fucked up thing ever, and I was like, really though? And that was unfortunately David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
Oh, really? Okay, I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, actually, shoot, my cat wants to get out of the room. God dang it. Hold up real quick. Let me just let my cat out.
Get him going.
Okay, so back to Crimes of the Future. I was looking forward to this one because it was David Cronenberg, like I said. He's done a lot of great horror films in the past. This was his return to body horror in a while, so I mean,
You think it'd be perfect?
you think it'd be good, and the cast was great too. Like, there's Viggo Mortensen, Lea Seydoux, and Kristen Stewart was in it, and it's like, that's a good cast, or that's a great trio already. So I'm just like, how could it possibly go wrong? I just personally, when the reviews started coming out from Cannes and like all the film festivals saying, "Oh my God, it's so fucked up that people walked out of their seats,"
Yeah.
I didn't feel anything like that. I didn't feel
Mm.
grossed out. I didn't feel anything. Like
Mm.
I didn't. When I walked out of it, I just was like, "That was okay. That was a movie." You
It
know,
is a movie.
that's a movie.
Beginning, a middle, and an end.
Like, I was just talking about this with my brother actually, because he actually didn't like Nope that much, and
Mhm.
and we were talking about like what's our most overrated films this year, and I was saying like this one is because I didn't feel anything like when I left it. Like, sure there was some gross imagery, but it wasn't to the point where I felt like I was gonna walk away from my seat.
Right.
I expected more from Cronenberg, and that's why I was personally disappointed in this film. That's just me, though. I know some people do like it,
Mhm.
but I guess I'm in the controversial side of not liking it that much.
I still want to try and like track it down to
I
see it,
still
but
think it's worth a shot. It is out on streaming and rental right now. I do think it is worth a shot just to see how you feel about it,
right.
but I just didn't find anything deep to it, personally.
Nothing to grasp onto.
Nothing to grasp on, yeah. Nothing like Nope, personally, to me.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, like Nope has good brain food. Like you can have a good long conversation about a lot of the stuff in that movie after you're done watching it.
And when I was done watching this, I just felt like, yeah, there was some cool imagery, but that was it. I didn't remember any of the dialogue or any of the character names, even.
Oh, that's not a great sign.
It's not a great sign. And especially with the Cronenberg film, you should get some memorable shit. So it's like,
Yeah.
disappointing. To me, at least. What's your number five?
My number five was also kind of disappointing, although I don't know exactly like what I expected out of it. Because to be disappointed, you have to have some kind of preconceived notion going in or an expectation. And really, I don't. I think when I saw the trailer for this movie, I think I knew exactly what I was getting into. And after having seen it, I was like, "Yup, that was kind of what I thought," but I still feel disappointed. It's The Lost City.
You know what? That's interesting.
Mm.
My parents said that was one of their most disappointing films this year too.
Yeah, like as predictable as I kind of thought it was, I was still kind of let down by the lack of humor and chemistry in the movie. For something that's about where the main character writes romance novels, I'm like, this is shockingly passionless. Like this is not Romancing of the Stone.
And it was trying to be, right?
It sure thinks it is. And there's a couple of like nice little nods to that movie, which I appreciate, but it's like you got to do more than reference what you're paying homage to. You got to express it. You got to make me feel it, and it just felt so cold and just kind of it's got one good joke, but you can kind of see that joke coming from a mile away. Like Dan, God bless Daniel Radcliffe. He's got charisma. He definitely tries. You can tell that he likes doing different roles, but man, they really run out of stuff for him to do at around the like 40-minute mark.
That's a shame because I also really like Daniel Radcliffe a lot as an actor,
And I
too.
also I also really like Channing Tatum as a comedic
Oh,
actor. He has
absolutely.
great comedic timing.
He's
I
great in the
figured,
Jump Street movies.
and I kind of figured that he would help to elevate the material. Sandra Bullock's no slouch either. I kind of figured something would come of it, but like just some of the most cookie cutter jokes. And again, like there's just no heat or energy to the movie really ever at all. I honestly felt like it was kind of sleepwalking.
Yeah, I heard from my parents too that this wasn't really a good film, especially
Mhm.
they were expecting a little bit more from this cast, especially.
I'm right
Um,
there with him.
was Brad Pitt's cameo good at least?
Yes. Um they kind of I actually appreciate how he's introduced into the movie. It's over the phone, and you can clearly tell that he's like they have like a life or death situation, and he's just kind of like very blasé, and like he's probably doing something else in the background. Like that's how little of a shit he gives. This is all very routine for him. Um, and he gets some good they take the joke is that his character feels like it's from a completely different movie. And that joke does work for, like I said, that is the one joke that works. But at a certain point, I mean, it's starring Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock, not those two and Brad Pitt. So at a certain point, like they do have to hold the movie up on their own shoulders, and unfortunately, they just can't get it done.
That's a shame. I was actually kind of looking forward to myself, considering I like adventure films. I like the
Yeah,
cast they had,
yeah.
but after hearing from both my family, I guess you now, I guess I'm not really that interested in seeing it anymore.
Yeah, I would say it's not even honestly like bad enough to like have a good time with. So there's worse ways you could spend your evening, but I would pass on it.
Yeah. So is it number four now? Number four?
Yes. Yeah, we're at 4.
Oh, my number four. Okay. Okay. We have quite a bit talked about with my number four here.
Ooh, talk
I'm a
about it.
huge fan of this franchise. A huge fan of this franchise. And
Okay.
to see this film be so cookie cutter, like we're gonna use cookie cutter a lot today, aren't we? But it's so cookie cutter with
Mhm.
how it's played out, and
Mhm.
there is some good elements in this film. I didn't reveal yet, obviously, because I'm leading into it. But there's some good elements in this film that have some elements from this franchise I'm about to talk about. But
Yeah.
it just squanders it. Like it feels like with some low energy. It feels like, and that is the Uncharted movie.
Dude, my number 4 is
Oh
Uncharted
shit!
3.
No way! No fucking way! We have about this over. Okay, let's try
We're
it.
two
Let's
for
try it.
two.
We're two for two, baby. Okay, let's talk about why this didn't work at all.
Let's talk about how boring this movie
Dude,
is.
I don't know what it was. It was just
How was this so dull?
like okay, let me just get this out of the way.
Yeah.
the good elements. I actually think Tom Holland is trying his best here. He's very charismatic in the role, and he does his own stunts, which is actually pretty impressive for the most part. Like, there's some cool fight scenes in this too. Like, I was actually the bar scene was nice. The plane scene was probably the best action scene, even though that was directly from 3, so they just ripped that off from 3. But dude, what it was this film? It was so boring.
Like here's the fun backstory, the behind the scenes. So I sat down to watch Uncharted, and at a certain point I was like, we gotta be getting to the end. And I paused it, and it was only halfway through, and I turned to my partner, I said, fuck this. Put on something else. And she picked The Lost City. And that's the reason why it's number 5 and this is number 4. Because at least I finished The Lost City.
That's so funny that
It
you
was, it was predictable, sure, but at least I knew, like, I could follow along with the characters. I knew what was happening. I knew why people wanted to do things. The basic, like, paint by numbers shit was done in The Lost City. There was no emotion or passion behind it, but at least I could follow the movie along. With Uncharted, I could not be bothered to give a shit. And that made it so much harder to follow along with the movie. And at times, I felt like the movie didn't care.
I just felt like the direction was way off for this film. Like there was something like I feel like they took some sort of like NyQuil, and like it just felt like everybody was kind of sleepwalking with some.
It is
Espe-
NyQuil, like, encapsulated into
Dude,
a
no,
movie.
like Marky Mark. Why would you ever choose him as Sully? Like that's the most miscast you could ever think of.
And it's so frustrating because the Uncharted series is basically already an adventure movie. You just have to kind of dial it down, like, cut it down to like 2 hours. But like the structure's already there. The formula's already there, and somehow not an ounce of it made it through into the movie.
Yeah, this it was a
It's
slog,
so
man.
tropey, it's so boring, and like it's poorly written to the point. And I think that's part of the reason why it's so difficult to follow, is because it's written in such a way that the characters never make it super clear what's happening or what they want or why. And there's so many, like, this will get us this, but that can only be done by getting us this. To get that, we have, in order, it has so many hoops to jump through, but the characters don't do a very good job of relaying that to the audience. It's like, it takes me back to I'm clearly not over this franchise. It takes me back to the Transformers movies, where it's like, if you would just put in the script, oh my god, it's Starscream, look out, I would know what I'm looking at, but I can't tell what I'm looking at. So you just need to write it a little more. It needs to go through one more pass through with a screenwriter. Just one more. A little more than not at all. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, this movie. When I watched it again at home with my family, I was like, "This
You
is."
watched it twice?
I watched it twice.
What the shit?
I watched it twice. I watched
God,
it in theaters.
You
Oh.
have the patience of saints.
I watched it in theaters.
I have not walked out of a movie
I can't-
in 20-some years. But I was sitting there at home. I could have been doing taxes. I could have been doing my laundry. I could have been dusting. And I sat there. I was like, I cannot have this movie on.
Dude,
It fucking broke me.
It's so funny. Oh my god, this is funny. This is you know what? You're right. This is the best part of the podcast.
You deserve a goddamn medal.
Yeah, this is the
I'm gonna
best part of
make
the
you a medal.
podcast.
I'm gonna make you. What do you want? What do you want it to say?
Here lies the man that watched Uncharted twice.
He died doing what he loved twice.
Stick to the games, fans. Stick to the games.
Or you know what? Nathan Fillion did a 15-minute fan.
Watch that instead. It's free.
It's free. It's only 15 minutes, and it's actually pretty damn good.
It feels like the games too, so go watch that one instead. Number three for me. No, since we technically
Yeah.
did number four together. Oh, it pains me to talk about this one, honestly. I was really looking forward to this film, like really looking forward to it. But it was just so bad, like in the writing, like in the humor, like in my honest opinion. Like
Okay.
I can't believe I'm actually putting it on this list. It really does disappoint me considering the director's resume. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Ooh, yeah. Tell me about it. I still haven't seen
Ugh,
it yet. Talk to me
dude.
about it.
Especially coming off of Ragnarok, you would think
Yeah, that's a
Taika,
big step
you
down
think
in
you think
quality.
Taika would still have this down, right?
Mhm.
Like I just realized something too when I was looking up the info to both films. Like he didn't write Ragnarok. He wrote this one. And it
Really?
shows, like it shows, dude, like
How did I not know that?
you know
Who
what?
wrote who wrote Ragnarok? Do you know?
Um let me look it up actually, but it was definitely
Okay.
was not him. Um
Interesting.
So
Okay.
Ragnarok was written by Eric Peterson, Craig Kyle, and Christopher L. Yost.
Okay.
They, all three of them wrote it, but not Taika at all. He just directed it. He wrote and directed Love and Thunder. But holy shit, man, the fucking jokes in this movie is so cringe and so boring to the point where I just wanted to go to sleep. Like I felt like I was like, am I crazy here, or is like I didn't think it could be a worse Marvel movie like than fucking Eternals this year, but last year. But fucking man, this movie was just so bad. Like,
Oh, wow, them's is. I mean, I haven't seen Eternals, but them's is fighting words to somebody.
dude, like this movie like so cringeworthy. Like, I can't believe I'm saying that for a Thor movie, but that's the definition I can say for this film. Cringe. It just felt like every joke wanted to be a meme. Like they legit have as like like they go to places like worlds in between the films. Do you
Yeah.
know what they have as like their reindeer or like horses type? Fucking screaming goats. Screaming goats.
Oh my God, that makes so much more sense. I would sit there in the break room and I was like, why am I hearing that screaming goat meme through the walls?
It's
That makes
Thor.
so much sense. That it's coming from Thor. Wow, that's oof. That's about that's about 8 years too late.
Did Taika write
Jeez.
this when he was in 2013 or something? Like, did he get memes from like the past? Like, I'm just like, it's not funny. Like,
Just start putting QR codes on the screen
I
that
know.
you scan in and it
Essentially,
brings
just
up
put
funny
QR codes on the
TikToks.
screen, and it would be a marketing ploy. Essentially, at this point,
God.
dude, no, I was so mad at this movie. Honestly, like, it
I
makes me angry because it's like Taika can do so much better than this. Like,
yeah.
he's an Oscar-winning writer, and it's like, this is what you came up with? Really?
I have an honest question for you.
What, but what's the question?
How is Christian Bale in the movie?
Okay, he was good, but
Mm.
legit only in it for 10 minutes. Of,
Ouch.
I'm not joking.
Oh, that is a long movie though. It's just over 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's only in it for 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh boy, I would be so fucking pissed.
Dude, that was the thing
I
I
would
was
be
most excited
so
for about this
pissed.
movie was him.
Oh
And guess
man.
what? For a guy named called the Godslayer, they don't show him much godslaying.
Not too great at the god slaying.
They legit show clips, like little clips on a screen showing his slaying, and that's it. Not even the full screen effect. We can't even see shit of what's happening.
Oh well, I mean, but we have to have room for the screaming goats. So what do you got? What are you gonna do?
Clearly, that deserves
Obviously, we
more
gotta got
importance than
that.
fucking Christian Bale's God slaying, right, guys?
No, yeah, it's clearly more important.
I I hate this movie, honestly. Oh my god.
It sounds like because you were not the first person to tell me to some effect that this movie is really shitty and disappointing. But it really feels like this is the kind of Marvel movie that non-Marvel fans think all Marvel movies are, and that kind of irritates
That
me.
does irritate me because it's like you have films like in the same phase, like Spider-Man: No Way Home, which is my favorite MCU film right now, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then you also have films like Doctor Strange, which is so different and unique, and it's like,
Mhm.
what the fuck did this come up to in this phase now? Like, ugh, bad movie, bad MCU
Bad,
movie,
bad
bad
movie,
MCU
Bennett.
movie. I never
Bad.
thought I would say that to you, Thor. I'm so
Feel right
sorry.
in your corner.
Dude, I feel so bad because it's like I was really looking forward to this movie, considering Ragnarok. But Jesus Christ, wow, what a fluke, what a failure. All right, I've done enough ranting on Thor. What's your number three?
Um, we might be going to war.
Oh boy.
We might be going to war, or like a skirmish. I don't know. Cause I remember asking you ahead of time about this movie, and you were like, "Yeah, it's worth seeing. Like, you should watch it." So I did, and I don't. My number three is Scream.
Oh. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing because like I never thought okay, okay, give me 1 second to breathe for a minute cuz um okay. So, um wow, I did not expect that actually.
So
Okay, so before we I sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but
no, it's okay.
uh, I actually have this on my better of this year list so far. Like I think I had it on number 10 for a while too, for my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see why is that your worst?
You know what? The first half of the movie, I was all in. The reason why this is kind of higher-ish up on my worst so far this list is because of the dip that it took for me at a certain point in the movie. And honestly, I can't totally nail it's like a fever dream. I can't entirely remember when it clicked with me that I was disengaged with the movie, which is strange because I can usually pinpoint exact moments, but I just remember at some point I realized I was not having as much fun with it anymore as I was when the movie was first starting. Because to its credit, the first I'm like, it's got a good mystery. I like the setup. It's taking some risks with some of the legacy characters, and I super appreciated that. I was on board, but at some point, I just remember like starting to be like, oh, here we go. It's starting to do the Scream thing again, where it fucking feels like they hate horror movies. Even though I know they don't, I know that they do. But there's only so many shits you can take on the horror genre before I start to get a little irritated. And there's one character in particular that, like, the first couple times, like, ha, that's the movie nerd. And then after a while, I was like, okay, but I need you to talk like a real person sometimes too. And it just grinds my goddamn gears when a character clearly exists just to like try and excuse falling into a certain movie's tropes by addressing it. I'm like, it's not enough to just address it. You got to do something else with it. And it starts to come off like the movie is head is so far up its own ass that it's going to choke on its own nose ring.
Oh man, we might be at an
So
impasse here.
again, full disclosure, I was super into it for the first half, and because of that, not everybody's gonna feel the same way about the second half. Because I feel like if the first half, especially the introduction of a movie, grabs you by the ghoulies effectively enough, then that can carry you through the entire rest of a movie. It just didn't do that with me. It squeezed a little too hard, and I had to back down.
Okay, so I'm actually a huge fan of the Scream franchise. I love all the films, even the shitty Scream 3. Yeah, that's still shitty. Like I still like it a lot because it's fun or
It's
so.
still shitty.
Yeah, I know, but I still find enjoyment in it at least. So It's interesting that you keep saying Scream dumps on horror films. I don't think that at all. Like I really don't think that personally, but that's just me, I guess. How I take Scream, I just find it more or less as a tribute because it is by Russ Craven
Mm.
mostly. I mean, these directors did Ready or Not a couple years back, which I actually really like too.
I like that movie a lot.
It's really great.
That's
Uh,
like the seventh time in a few days that that movie has been brought to my attention in some way, shape, or form in a conversation.
well, yeah, that's a really good film though. So,
Yeah.
um, personally, I really enjoyed the Scream film. It's not my favorite sequel. I still think Scream 2 is my favorite sequel, but I did enjoy it. Like I actually found some really neat stuff in it. Like you said, what they did to the legacy characters without spoiling is very risky,
They
and
take some chances.
they do take a lot of chances, which I always admire in a film.
Yeah.
So that's why I guess I don't have it on this list at all, because I'm like, I actually still find enjoyment in this film
Mm.
personally. But that's you. I mean, I see why. My brother actually is leaning towards less enjoying it too, because he just doesn't find it that much entertaining when he rewatch it.
Yeah.
But you know, I have fun with it. But that's just me.
I also go ahead.
I'm pretty much done here to talk about it.
I was just gonna say that like I have honestly I've seen way more movies that I liked this year than movies I didn't like. So between my best so far this year and my worst so far this year, the worst is going to change the most dramatically between now and the end of the year.
Oh,
So just
absolutely.
again,
I think from
it's a
here on out,
disclaimer that like this is still like we're not in progress. We're not done with the year yet.
this is subject to change, like you said, later, probably by the end of the year too. So, yeah. So that's your number three. Scream 2022 is your number
Yeah.
three.
Yeah. That's mine.
Number two. Oh God, number two. Oh my goodness, number two makes me laugh. I don't know why. It makes me laugh just seeing the name. Morbius. More books.
Oh.
Dude,
Oh boy.
Morbius, the greatest film ever made. Don't have to talk about it anymore. Let's go, guys. Time to wrap it up.
It's time to wrap it up.
I'm just kidding, dude. No, this film was fucking bland as shit, dude. I didn't like this film at all. Whoever thinks Jared Leto's good casting for any comic book film is a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Dude, this movie was just so fucking boring, man. Like I did not find one single thing interesting except for Matt Smith. He was the most redeeming part of it all, and even then, I was so bored by this fucking movie, dude. Like, how could they make vampires boring? Even more boring than Twilight. Like, that's an accomplishment I never thought could happen.
It's amazing, just not in the way that you
But they
want it
did
to
it
be.
in Morbius, and I'm just like, listen, there's so many memes regarding this movie. You've seen the memes. You've seen all the memes too on Twitter.
It's a
But
meme.
but everybody keeps saying like, "Oh my God, best movie ever made." It's the movie, man. It's the movie of the year. It's the movie, guys. You know, people are bullshitting with that.
Yeah.
It's not the best movie this year, guys. It's really not. In fact, it's one of the least favorite movies this year I've ever had to
Stop
sit there.
telling people that it's the best because the algorithm can't tell the difference and it will make Hollywood think that we want a second one. We
And
don't
we
want
don't want a
second
second
one.
Morbius film.
Stop giving Jared Leto work.
We don't want him in films. He's a freaking weirdo. God, this movie was so boring. Man, like, I don't. I think I've talked enough about Morbius honestly because of the memes alone. But yeah. What's your number two?
Uh, okay. So when you're adapting something, whether it be another movie or a book or a show or whatever, you got two things you got to get done. You have a balancing act, right? You have to be able to have it be a standalone thing. It has to be a good movie, whatever you're making it into. It has to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. But it also needs to properly uh, represent the source material. in spirit. So my number 2 is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Oh, wow! Wowie, wow.
This,
This is quite a different list from what I had because you know what? I had this higher on the list, like of my best of.
really,
Wowie, wow. Okay. But you know what's funny?
hmm,
I actually just rewatched it
yeah.
the other day, not too long ago, like maybe 5 days ago, maybe.
Hmm.
I will say, didn't hold up the second viewing.
That does not surprise me, honestly, because I've been editing a reaction video for it. I gave you 10 guesses as to who that's for. Um, but like because I'm editing, I'm going back through the same scenes a couple of different times, and even the scenes that I kind of smirked at, upon another viewing, I'm like, kind of just zoned out there for a minute. Like it really just doesn't have any staying power. So I find that very easy to believe that it didn't hold up to another viewing with you.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was like, "Oh, this is actually really clever and funny." I was actually laughing my ass off throughout. Because I actually found this film a lot better than Space Jam 2. Let's just get that out of the way. I think this
I
film is
will
so
agree
much.
with that.
I will say
I
this is
agree.
so much better than Space Jam 2, and I will
Yes.
rather rewatch this than Space Jam 2. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. I really didn't like it. I didn't find much enjoyment. I thought it tried too hard. A lot of it raised more questions than I was really prepared to ask, and I don't feel like it's a Rescue Rangers movie. But
It's not a Rescue Rangers movie, unfortunately.
I will watch this on loop for 24 hours before I watch Space Jam 2 even once.
I'd rather drink bleach than watch Space Jam 2, honestly.
It would be less painful.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that, but like it's just that bad, Space Jam 2, guys. That's how much it scarred us from that year. But
We managed to make it pretty far into this episode without shitting on Space Jam 2.
and then it finally came up, so
I'm pretty proud of us. We made it pretty far.
we did make it pretty far, honestly. Yeah, like you said, it's not a Rescue Rangers movie.
It's really not.
It's not.
And,
Like we're like the whole time I was like, "Where's Zipper? Where's Martin Ray Jack? Where's
Yeah.
Mechanic? Where are they?"
Why do they get to all talk and sound like their original 80s cartoon counterparts, but Chip and Dale
Is John
don't?
Mulaney and Andy Samberg current actors we know?
Why is it like that? There's so many questions, and also like probably the best part was Paul Rudd. Like let's just be
Oh
real,
my
like,
god, that made me
favorite
laugh
part.
so hard,
That was
dude.
great.
It made me so hard, dude. That and also I think what also made me laugh hard was the Baloo scene. Just seeing Baloo get the cover was so
Oh,
funny.
that scene, I I could feel my soul trying to just get out as quickly as possible. Like it throws so many jokes at you. It was bound to get at least one right, and like it makes sense that Paul Rudd is. But the couple times I came back to that, I was like, this is still funny. Look at him go. He believes it. But
Paul Rudd's
yeah,
great, man.
Chip and Dale can fucking eat it.
So Chippendale number 2 for you?
Yeah, right now Chip and Dale.
Oh, that's unfortunate because I actually did find some enjoyment with this movie, but upon second viewing, I can see why it's not that great. Number 1 now for me?
Yeah, the numero.
Oh goodness gracious! I'm already looking at it. I'm just looking at the title. It's making me angry.
Getting mad.
I'm getting angry, dude. I might.
That's how you know it's the number 1. When just
dude.
looking at it and being reminded of what you went through, just yeah. That's
If there was a worst character writing award to a film, this would be it. The stupidest characters I've ever seen in a film, ever made.
Okay,
Dude.
talk about it.
Oh god. Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Netflix. This movie broke me, man. It fucking broke me.
Spoiler alert.
Dude.
My number 1.
Oh, it is too? Oh my god!
On Netflix.
We're 3 for 3, baby!
Oh boy.
Let's shit
Oh, I'm
on this
so
movie.
glad.
Let's
Okay,
shit on
let's
this
just
shit,
yeah,
dude.
let's put
Oh
the
my
gloves
god.
off.
This
Oh my
movie
god.
fucking sucked, bro. Oh my god, dude.
Holy shit.
Dude, okay,
I
this was the
cannot
opposite of Prey.
believe.
The opposite of Prey. It was
Yeah.
similar to Predator 2018. Oh my
Uh-huh.
god.
This is how you take a legacy horror icon and some like just completely trudge them through the mud.
The
Like
most
not a
idiotic
single thing
writing.
worked. Not a single thing worked in the whole movie.
The most idiotic characters I've ever seen in a fucking movie, dude. Oh
They
my
didn't even
god.
feel like people sometimes because
No!
they didn't react
No!
like a person would.
It felt like an AI had more emotion than this fucking movie did, in my opinion.
It felt like a dry run through of the script. You know, when you're just kind of walking around with the script, you go, okay, so I say this, and then I walk over here, and then I say this, and then I look to the camera. It felt like a dry run through, but no, but they had their script memorized, but like nothing else, no lights on upstairs, nothing else going on, and I don't expect stellar performances from a slasher horror movie. I
I'm
just
not.
don't. If I get one,
Listen.
great. If I get one, that's great. X had really good performances in it,
See,
and that's a slasher. Yeah,
X was a good example of how to do a Texas Chainsaw movie, right? In a way, like that was a good fucking movie.
like charisma all across the board. Like really, it is the antithesis to the Netflix's Chainsaw Massacre.
It's quite the massacre Netflix put on this fucking franchise. Am I right,
Yeah,
dude?
like honestly,
This franchise has always been kind of bad for the most part, other than the original movie. And to the remake, I actually do like because it has some really good cinematography, and Arlie Ermy is just amazing in the villain role.
yeah, holy shit, that guy like he tries so hard to elevate that movie.
But this movie, oh my god, I
That's actually a
cannot.
good example of like I don't expect a good performance in this movie, and then you go and see you're like, wow, this guy really knocked it out of the park. Good for him. But I don't expect that. I went into the Netflix one being like, all right, well, I mean, again, I have a low fucking bar, and somehow this movie managed to like snap its ankles and limbo its way right under there. Like, god damn it. I cannot believe that nothing in the movie worked.
Nothing worked. It wasn't scary.
It
It
wasn't
wasn't
funny.
clever.
It
It,
didn't tell anything. It was oh my god, it was not clever. It trying to do the whole like school shooting commentary. I'm like,
oh my
that
god,
went
that was just so
nowhere.
dumb. So dumb. And
You are not
like
smart enough to talk about this
and like
movie.
man, talk yeah, this franchise is just run down to the ground at this point, man.
I
There's
already thought it was running to the ground, but somehow they managed to find like 50 feet of crap to bury itself under. Like at the 15-minute mark, I remember pausing. Well, I had to pee, but I remember pausing it, and I came back and I went, I feel like I've missed, or I feel like there's been 30 minutes of the movie cut out entirely because they already, this feels
yeah,
like the
apparently
45-minute mark of the movie. There's been no intro or setup to fucking anything, but they just act like we're just supposed to know all this shit or
so
know all these
apparently
people.
there were test screenings of this film, and there was more scenes that we didn't have from those test screenings. Like there was deleted scenes,
Boy, I
but
hate being
apparently the test screenings were even worse. So it's like, oh, I don't even know if I want to see that cut now if it's worse.
God, yeah, I feel like Ian Malcolm. I hate being right all the time. Like
And that was a big
that
one,
makes
big part.
so much sense as to why every like it. I don't know, something about like the way it was clicking and cut together. I was like, why are we progressing so fast in 15 minutes? And I don't think I've heard anyone's name except for Dante, and I only remember that because every time I hear that name, I think of Devil May Cry. But like,
And my best friend, one of my best friends, is named Dante too.
really, that's fucking
Yeah.
metal. Um, and yeah, and like it kept taking me out of the moment that every time something big would happen, like the old lady dies in the back of the van, and everyone's just staring. The only one who's actually reacting is the killer, the you know The one
Everyone's just
directly
motionless,
interacting
and
with
it's
her.
like, why? Like, what is happening in this movie? Do you guys just not care? Do you just want the paycheck from Netflix and get out and run? Like,
Well, it speaks to the direction too, because if we're gonna run with that scene as an example, she's choking and she's dying, and it cuts to everyone's reaction, and they're just looking at her, and then she finally croaks, and you can almost count out loud to one Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, and then someone turns and goes, "Hey, I think the old lady just died." I was like, "What the? Where the fuck was the reaction?"
where were
The
you
tone is
guys
you're supposed to
10
be
minutes
focused on
ago?
the reaction. Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Like, come
you couldn't
on.
even fix it. Like that says to me that the director was not doing a good job. But also, like, did you not just cut out the as the editor? I'm like, why didn't you cut out that 3 seconds? Make it just feel a little bit faster. Like literally nothing in the movie worked. No one was doing their goddamn job.
I despise this movie. I, I don't think Texas Chainsaw has any faith anymore in this franchise at this point, personally. It's run to the ground. I think it's done.
Yeah, it was honestly kind of like running on borrowed faith anyway. But if even like the low bar of a straight to Netflix is now the new straight to VHS. Like it really.
And don't get me wrong, there is some good Netflix shit out there. Like, lots of good Netflix stuff out there to watch right now. But when you have 50% of this content like this, it doesn't really make the streaming service that appealing.
No, it doesn't. And like it also bothered me too constantly how conveniently sounds would either appear or disappear depending on the scene. Like in that first 10 minutes, you're looking at the road, and then suddenly a truck zooms in from the right, and only when the truck is in the frame do you hear the truck noise. But it's like, why didn't I hear the truck coming down the road? And they do that like 3 times. And then likewise, Leatherface has his chainsaw going, he's chasing after somebody, he's looking around trying to find him, and they're under the floorboards and they're trying to stay quiet, and the whole room is super quiet. But then when his chainsaw goes through the floor to try to get at her, now it's making all this fucking noise. It's like, chainsaws make noise regardless if they're on. Why is it like this? It continually takes me out of the movie that like it's just the most lazy. Like, you think this works. You think that this is how a horror movie is done. And it's really unfortunate because horror movies can be fucking great. Also, Leatherface is just fucking just shoot him. Just shoot him. Just shoot him. There's only there's only so many times that I can believe that he got away from a confrontation before I'm like, all right, like there's no stakes anymore because I know he's fucking invincible. Hit him at least, but like he's untouchable. He like he like bamps into the frame a couple of times where I'm like, he is at least 250 pounds. And not like he's not the type to tiptoe around. Like, come on. It's to wrap it up, like the movie made me feel like if the movie was a person, it felt like they were talking to me like I was the one that was stupid.
I know, like,
And it's so frustrating because I'm like, do you not hear yourself? How do you not hear what you're saying right now?
yeah,
It's
I
really
don't
bad.
know. It's bad. Don't watch it,
Even
guys.
for even a 70-minute movie to still make me feel like I wasted my
Dude, it
time.
felt so long for a 70-minute movie for some
It
reason.
really did. Like as it's because you see this shit pile on. It stacks and it stacks and it makes everything have so much more uncomfortable weight to it that you're just kind of like it slogs. It takes so much longer to get through because it's so frustrating.
Man, that was quite our number one, man. But
Yeah, I know. I said that my top five worst is gonna change a lot, but that one's probably still gonna
yeah,
be
that's. I
two
think
or
it's still
three
gonna
at
be my
least.
number one too. I just despise this movie so much. Um, so I think that wraps up our list then, right? That
Yeah,
wraps it up.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I like
Well,
that.
before we go,
Mm.
I do want to name off at least five movies that we're looking forward to this year.
Mm.
At least
Okay,
five. So same number. I don't have the posters ready, so I'm not gonna put up the posters right now.
that's okay.
Um,
We'll just bang them out real quick.
but for me, um, the five films I'm most excited for this year is one of them being Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It just came out.
Mm.
I do want to see that really badly because it's an A24 slasher, and I heard it's getting amazing reviews. So
Yep.
anything A24 I'll watch. Um, Pearl, another A24 horror film, the prequel to X. I'm very very excited for too. X was very enjoyable, and I can't wait to see what this prequel has to offer. Um, Let's see here. The Woman King with Viola Davis. I'm very
Ooh,
excited for as well.
that's a good choice.
That
Yeah.
looks very. It looks very intriguing and badass, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, the fourth film I'm gonna name off here actually, the Banshees of Inisherin. It's from Martin McDonough, who did Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, In
Nice.
Bruges. It reunites Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson from In Bruges.
Okay.
So I love Martin McDonough's stuff so far, so I'm very much excited for this one as well, especially In Bruges. With like In Bruges is awesome. Um, and I think the last film I'm looking forward to this year. I want to say, well, I don't. Well, it's weird because like I am looking forward to Avatar to The Way of the Water, like as a theater
Mm.
film, but I'm not really looking forward to it as like a, like excitement. Like I'm just excited as a theater experience. You know
True.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's, I guess in a way the film I'm like most excited for so far this year like is Glass Onion, Knives Out 2. I
Yeah.
think Knives Out is an incredible murder mystery from 2019.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson is an incredible director. Daniel Craig is back. They have a stat cast again for the second one. So I
Mhm.
mean, that's my most anticipated
Yeah.
of the half of this year.
Mhm.
What's your
Uh,
five picks?
in no particular order, I actually have a couple that have been out for a while, and I just haven't gotten a chance to see them, but I'm really jazzed to get to see them. Um, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent
Oh, you gotta watch that, dude.
really, really speaks to me on so many different levels. Some of them more superficial than others. Let's Just
Actually,
Fuck It.
we didn't have it on. I didn't have it on my list, but it is actually my favorite comedy this year. I really loved The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and you should really watch it.
I really want to watch The Outfit.
What's that one again?
I I forgot who's in it. I have like all my coworkers, literally every single one, even the stupid children, um, tell me that the outfit is great and that it's not quite what I think it's gonna be, even though like from the poster I can't glean a whole lot from it. Um, I
Oh wait,
also
I
want
did
to
hear about
see,
this. Yeah, I did hear about the
yeah.
outfit. Sorry.
I also want to see Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I think it'll be a fun
Yeah, bye, bye, bye.
little uh game horror type flick. Um, I want to see 3000 Years of Longing. Definitely has my interest.
Is that the
Um,
George Miller one?
yes, with Idris Elba and
Yes. That looks insane.
yeah. I honestly that's the kind of movie where I'm like I don't really want to see any other trailers or material. I think I'm sold already, and I kind of want to go in as blind as possible now. And then I'm right there with you for like the one I'm anticipating the most. The same team behind Knives Out. Another knockout cast.
Glass Onion?
I'm gonna
You're looking forward to
The
Glass Onion?
Glass Onion. Yeah, that's absolutely my number
Yep,
one
definitely my most
with a
anticipated.
bullet. Yeah,
Knives
yeah.
Out
You
was in my
cannot.
top
You could
three.
not. Yeah, you could not keep me from that movie.
Yeah, Knives Out was in my top three of 2019, so I'm definitely very excited for Glass Onion.
I have watched since I saw it in theaters. I have watched it once a year, every year since it came out, and it's still great.
So yeah, I think that wraps up our list for so far halfway throughout the year.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
we're getting
definitely
there.
looking forward to more films. Hopefully the rest of the films turn out more good than bad this year. But
Yeah, I gotta find some more shitty things to
oh,
watch
there's
because right
some
now my
shit to
list
watch,
is
man. I feel like.
there's some shit to watch.
But thank you, Samoan Guy, again for doing this with us again on the
Yeah,
podcast.
of course.
Um, just to name off, where can they find you again on social media?
It's I try to keep it the same. It's that Samoan guy on all things, just to make it nice and uniform. YouTube channel, Twitter, Twitch. I don't stream all that often, but that might change in the future.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us on this
Yeah, thanks for
episode.
having me. This is
If
this is always
it's
fun.
always fun, it's so much fun. Um, we'll do probably another list later on down the end of the year, like a top
Mhm.
10, definitely full
Yeah.
fledged. Thank you guys again for watching. If you're out there, and definitely subscribe if you want, if you liked what you heard, and we'll see you guys next time. See you later, guys.